Hello, and what's up? Welcome to Andre Knows Everything. This is the podcast where I, Andre, teach you, the audience, some things about a specific topic, one topic at a time, and we're just going to be using the internet. Just your basic Google search kind of stuff for about an hour, maybe less. Today, we shall see. Today, we are going to be talking about something super gross. No, we're going to be talking about animal reproduction. I don't know what came over me this week, but I was like, I want to know how more animals bang. And so that's what we're going to be doing here today. I don't have a lot of history with any of this. There's no real particular reason why I'm looking up this topic today. It's just like I was in more of a sciencey mood, I suppose. So I'm ready to learn about how things get it on, you know? Let's get it on. Oh, baby. Let's get it on. Like they do on the Discovery Channel. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so I wanted to start off with just a little itty-bitty history lesson just because I was unsure of when we as humans started looking into animals and how they behave and how it relates to us and how everything in the world like really works. So I'm just looking up the history of zoology. All right, starting with I guess ancient Darwin or ancient history to Darwin. The history of zoology traces the study of the animal kingdom from ancient times to modern times. Although the concept of zoology as a single coherent field arose much later, the zoological sciences emerged from natural history reaching back to the biological works of Aristotle and Galen in the ancient Greco-Roman world. This ancient work was further developed in the Middle Ages by Muslim physicians and scholars such as Albertus Magnus, who has a dope name. That's a Harry Potter-ass name, Albertus Magnus. Should I name a kid that? Maybe. We'll come back to it. During the Renaissance and early modern period, zoological thought was revolutionized in Europe by a renewed interest in empiricism and the discovery of many novel organisms. Prominent in this movement were Vesalius and William Harvey, who used experimentation and careful observation in physiology, and naturalists such as Carl Linnaeus, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, and Buffon, who began to classify the diversity of life and the fossil record, as well as development of and behavior of organisms. Microscopy revealed the previously unknown world of microorganisms, laying the groundwork for cell theory. The growing importance of natural theology, partly a response to the rise of mechanical philosophy, encouraged the growth of natural history, although it entrenched the argument from design. Okay, so it was just, dudes looking at stuff back in the day. For some reason, this didn't give me any dates, not a single date. But Greco-Roman, Aristotle, it's early days. Okay, and then post-Darwin, these developments, as well as the results of embryology and paleontology, were synthesized in Charles Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection. In 1859, Darwin placed the theory of organic evolution on a new footing by his discovery of a process by which organic evolution can occur and provided observational evidence that it had done so. So Darwin, even though these other guys were in there, they were looking at cells, they were looking at animals, they were looking at all of it, Darwin is the one who's going like, okay, the way these things do it, is how they evolve by doing it. And that's what excites me, is the doing it part. This is going to be so weird. Oh, also, by the way, quick tip. Don't Google just the words animal sex, okay? Because what comes up is a bunch of bestiality porn, all right? I typed in animal sex, and it was just like, hey, you trying to come here and watch people fuck animals? I'm like, no, that's not what I want at all. Stop it. So don't do that. Type in animal reproduction. That'll get you the sciencey answers. Okay. I guess that is also a tip on how to find bestiality as well. I did it on accident. Okay. Oopsie doopsie. So, I also wanted to look at the most boring version of animal reproduction, asexual reproduction. This is not actually the most boring. It's pretty fascinating in that there are some organisms that can just beat their own meat and make their own kids, okay? They are strong, independent microorganisms, and they don't need no second microorganism in order to make life. So it says asexual reproduction occurs in prokaryotic microorganisms, so bacteria and archaea, and in many eukaryotic single-celled and multicelled organisms. There are several ways that animals reproduce asexually, the details of which vary among individual species. So I kind of want to just dig into one. There's fishing. Going fishing. The term fishing is applied to instances in which an organism appears to split itself into two parts and, if necessary, regenerate the missing parts of each new organism. For example, species of turbellarian flatworms, commonly called the planarians, such as Dugesia dorotocephala. Why do I even bother reading the big words? I can't do it. Are able to separate their bodies into head and tail regions and then regenerate the missing half in each of the two new organisms. So I would split myself in half, or maybe even top and bottom, right? Okay, pop this bad boy off right here, and then off the top I'd grow legs, and then off the bottom I'd grow a torso and head, and then boom, two Andres. That's pretty gross, but cool. Sea anemones, such as species of the genus Anthopleura, will divide along the oral-aboral axis, and sea cucumbers of the genus Holothuria will divide into two halves across the oral-aboral axis and regenerate the other half in each of the resulting individuals. There's budding, and there's fragmentation, like starfish. Fragmentation may occur through accidental damage from predators, or as a natural form of reproduction. Reproduction through fragmentation is observed in sponges, some cnidarians, turbellarians, and echinoderms, and annelids. In some sea stars, a new individual can be regenerated from a broken arm and a piece of the central disc. This sea star is in the process of growing a complete sea star from an arm that has been cut off. So this bad boy here on the right, look at him. So it was just an arm, and then it was like, you know what? I got other body parts to grow, and it just grew itself an entire rest of its body off of just an arm, That's cool. Patrick has superpowers. Okay, so that's asexual reproduction. I don't know that there's any like big ones, big animals that do it. Any like mammals that asexually reproduce or anything like that. What does it say? Parthenogenesis. I said that right. Parthenogenesis is a form of asexual reproduction in which an egg develops into an individual without being fertilized. Oh, okay, here we go. The resulting offspring can be either haploid or diploid, depending on the process and the species. Okay, I'm going to pretend I know what both of those words mean. The resulting offspring, okay. Parthenogenesis occurs in invertebrates such as water fleas, rotifers, aphids, stick insects, and ants, wasps, and bees. Ants, bees, and wasps use parthenogenesis to produce haploid males, so drones, which I talked about in the bee episode, and the diploid females are the result of a fertilized egg. Oh, that's interesting. So the drones, they just pop without even being fertilized, and then the parthenogenesis, parthenogenesis happens, and that egg fertilizes its own damn self, and it pops out into a baby boy bee. That's cool. That's pretty cool. And then sexual reproduction. You know what it is, man. You know what it is. You know what we're talking about. So I brought up a few animals that I'm interested in, that I've heard things about, that we'll get into and find out exactly how they bang. Let's start with ducks. Okay? The only thing I know about ducks is that they got corkscrew dicks. Okay? Their dicks look like pigtails, right? They're all just curlicued up, and when they get erect, they screw in to a lady duck so that the lady duck can't get away. And I think they can do it while they're flying. Let's see if any of that is true at all. Let's see. This is from yalescientific.org, okay, which seems like a reputable system. This article is called Unraveling the Mysteries of Duck Mating by Michael Laskin. It was written in September of 2010. Surprisingly, the female duck's reproductive organs have not been studied in detail until recently. Dr. Patricia Brennan and colleagues started to unravel the labyrinthine nature of their vaginal tracts and published on the subject in 2007. Brennan, a postdoctorate researcher at Yale University, is one of the leading figures in the field of research revolving around the duck's complex genital anatomy. Oh, this might have been a heavy one to start with. Okay, I don't care about the researcher's beginnings. Let's get into it. By the time Dr. Brennan had entered the field, much work had already been published on male duck phalluses and their anatomy. This extensive study of the male duck provoked Brennan to ask, what about the female? She began studying the female duck's anatomy with an amusing saying in mind: for every car, there is a garage. This approach apparently had never been taken before, allowing Brennan's recently published findings to represent a plethora of new information about the female duck's reproductive biology. Okay, that's very interesting because I kind of just did it, right? I brought up ducks and I brought up duck dicks. I didn't say nothing about duck vaginas, but I did say that it corkscrews in somewhere. I didn't say necessarily where, but it's into a duck vagina. In most birds, the oviduct resembles a simple tube, but in ducks, the vaginal tract not only spirals inside the duct, but also has sacs and crevices that add to its complexity. This is bizarre, considering that 97% of birds do not have phalluses or vaginal tracts. Even among the remaining 3% that do have phalluses, like the tinamou, ducks are still an anomaly. There are several theories that attempt to explain the unique evolution of ducks' sexual organs. However, the most popular theory explaining the reproduction of organs of waterfowl states that forced copulation is the cause of the unusual structure of ducks' sexual organs. Forced copulation, which is unlike the reproduction methods of any other birds, is not uncommon among waterfowl. So the ducks are raping. They have to do the forced copulation. It's no consent is happening in the duck world for whatever reason. But they explained it, but they didn't really explain it. The most popular theory explaining the reproduction of organs of waterfowl states that forced copulation is the cause of the unusual structure of ducks' sexual organs. Forced copulation, which is unlike the reproduction methods of any other birds, is not uncommon among waterfowl. So they're saying that they evolved this way. Like maybe the male duck evolved the corkscrew dick so that it could more easily fuck the female duck, but the female duck evolved her corkscrew vagina in order to stop the corkscrew ducking dickens. It doesn't make a ton of sense. They call it an evolutionary arms race. The incidence of forced copulation among mallards, the most common species of ducks, has been confirmed in the literature since at least 1911. But the question remained, why would forced copulation influence the structure of a female mallard's vaginal tract? Let's see here. This study showed that the shape of the female duck's vaginal tract explains the correlation. While male ducks have corkscrew-shaped phalluses, female ducks have anti-corkscrew-shaped vaginal tracts. That is, female ducks have a reproductive organ specifically designed to be hard to penetrate. This means that only the fittest males can successfully copulate with female ducks. So there it is. It's not a corkscrew to corkscrew 1-to-1. It's a corkscrew and an anti-corkscrew, and they're like magnets that you're trying to stick together, and they just keep butting against each other. So only the strongest, most rapey ducks can get in there and get past that and corkscrew their way into these weird ducky vaginas. That's really weird. I don't like that at all. I don't like any of this. This is nasty. Why am I doing this episode? Gross. let's see. To test her hypothesis, Brennan conducted an experiment on a duck farm in California. Shout out. The ducks on the California farm were genetically enhanced to be more fit and have larger phalluses, which made them perfect candidates for Brennan's research. Brennan and her colleagues wanted to see if the female duck vaginal tract was indeed harder for a male duck to penetrate. 3 synthetic duck vaginas with different structures were created. Okay, hang on. They made fleshlights for ducks. That's awesome. All right. 2 tube-like ones, like the vaginal tracts of most birds, and one that was a replica of a common female duck's vaginal tract. The study showed that while most of the male ducks had no difficulty penetrating the 2 tube-like synthetic vaginas, a significant number of ducks could not penetrate the 3rd anti-spiral synthetic vagina. Therefore, only the fittest ducks with the largest phalluses could penetrate the complicated tract. Through natural selection, male and female ducks have co-evolved in the growth of their reproductive organs. Interesting. The weird thing about these ducks is that they literally state that, like, bro, you gotta have a big old curvy ass duck penis in order to mate with any of these ducks. They had no problem penetrating the 2 tube-like synthetic vaginas, but almost none of them could get into that spirally duck vagina, unless they just have to force their way in. Forced copulation. This is making me uncomfortable. Okay. While many aspects of duck anatomy will still remain a mystery, the last few years have brought a wealth of new information to the field, with a great impact due to Brennan's exploration of hitherto unexplored parts of the female duck's anatomy. Okay, so they get in there. They make it, and then they, and then the female ducks pop some eggs out, hatch some eggs, and then you see the cute little ducklings trailing after their mother, by the river or whatever. And you just know that each of those little ducklings was forcefully spurted into that lady duck. All right. Let's move on to a different animal. Pigs. How do pigs mate? This is from animals.mom.me. So I think this is like a mom website for parents who want to teach their children about animals, I think. Okay, so this is a pretty short one. This is a pretty short one on pigs. I'm not sure why I brought up pigs. I think I might have been conflating ducks with pigs. I had mentioned that ducks' dicks look like pigtails, so then I immediately went to pigs, thinking that they also have pigtail-shaped dicks. I'm like 99% sure that they do not, though. The announcement. Boars who want to mate mark trees with their urine. All right? They're like, what's up, girl? I'm lifting up this leg. You see that? You see what I'm throwing down? You know what I'm talking about? You trying to roll? Trying to get in the slop? Boars who want to mate mark trees with their urine. They also produce foamy saliva by champing. Champing involves gnashing teeth, and chewing, resulting in saliva that contains the male sex hormone pheromone androstenol. The urine and saliva notify the females of his intention to mate. So he's just like, girl, you know what it is. The courtship. Here we go. Pigs enjoy touching each other and make nuzzling a part of their courtship. Oh, that's very cute. During courtship, the boar may nudge and nuzzle the sow's flank, head, genital area, and shoulders, showering her with his attention. The sow and boar sing to each other as they nuzzle and chase each other. He may begin to push her to see if she's ready to stand. You know what the sounds are. The mount. The mount. When the boar has successfully wooed the sow who is in heat, she will stand still and allow him to mount her. He will jump up and place his front legs on her back. You know what I'm talking about? Bow! He's got his little hooves on her back. He may need to scoot sideways to get directly behind her into mating position. His front legs hold onto the sow just in front of her hips once he is in position. I know. You ain't got to explain this part to me, okay? I've been here. You know what I'm talking about? Well, bow! And then the weight. Boars can take up to 30 minutes to ejaculate. All right, good on you. During this time, the boar remains mounted on the sow, occasionally thrusting. She may graze and take occasional steps forward until he is finished and slides or jumps off. Now, that's the end of this article, but I just remembered something else that I think I know about pigs, and that pigs, I think it's male pigs, they have crazy long, loud orgasms, okay? Let's Google it. Pig orgasms. Okay. The longest orgasm in mammals. This is from GuinnessWorldRecords.com. It goes to the domestic pig. The longest orgasm in mammals is that of the domestic pig. On average, its orgasm lasts 30 minutes, but it can last for as long as 90 minutes. So it said that sometimes it can take the pig 30 minutes to ejaculate. Right? So he's pumping away, you know, he's like, bow, he got it, he's going for 30 minutes. And then at the 30-minute mark, he goes, and then he does that for 30 to 90 more minutes. Oh, I'm having so much fun. I can't imagine. You know, I just can't imagine. I spend a lot of time. Never mind. I'm not gonna talk about it. But it's less time than that. You know what I'm saying? It's less time. That was very funny. I'm so glad that I remembered that that pigs have long orgasms. All right, horses. I jumped to horses. I don't know why I was interested in horses. I guess just because I know. I think I saw in the movie Jackass, where they were doing some awful stunt where they were gonna like drink horse semen or something like that. And so in order to do that, they had to go artificially inseminate a horse, right? And to do that, they had this another fleshlight type of device, except it was like this big, and like it was like 4 feet long, right? They take this big old thing, they shunk it onto the horse's penis, and then they just let the horse, you know, get it, and then they extract the semen. And oh God, I'm grossing myself out. Let's just see how horses do it. This is from animalwise.com, written by Eduarda Piamor in February of 2020. Or updated in February of 2020. Okay, this site does not want me to read this article. How do horses mate in the wild? Wow. I'm trying to do that cheetah noise. The beginning of a horse's reproductive age usually coincides with the arrival of puberty, which occurs later in females than in male. While male horses become sexually active between 14 and 18 months of age, females may experience their first heat between 15 and 24 months of age. So, you know, I'm out here 1.5 years old, and I'm trying to bang, but these ladies, they ain't trying to get into it until they 2, you know? Try to get into it. However, horses only reach sexual maturity at the age of 4, in which they are fully prepared to give birth to strong and healthy offspring. But how often do the mares come into heat? A pressing question. Mares experience seasonal ovulation cycles that occur in warmer seasons with greater light availability. Therefore, mares usually go into estrus every 21 days during spring and summer. During a mare's fertile cycles, bleeding can last between 5 and 7 days, but females only ovulate in the last 48 or 24 hours of each fertile period. In general, a mare remains fertile until her 15th birthday, when her last heat usually occurs. But this can vary according to horse breed, its metabolism, and health status. So what happens at 24 months? They can become sexually active or experience their first heat. So the puberty happens at 24 months for females. Then at 4 years, they hit sexual maturity and can give birth to strong offspring. But then by 15 years old, they go into like their menopausal period. Okay, that's interesting. Male horses remain in constant heat from the moment they become sexually active. They do, however, present peaks of higher sexual activity that often spur on periods of jealousy among the mares. Because male horses are constantly fertile, they can reproduce and breed throughout the year, provided they find a fertile mare to mate with. Sounds familiar. all year round, baby. Constantly fertile. The first step in horse mating is the courtship, performed by males to attract females before mounting. While approaching the fertile female, the male will adopt an imposing and haughty posture, arching his neck slightly to highlight the muscles of his chest and shoulders. Check out these traps, baby. He will energetically emit neighing sounds, specifically vocalized for mating. Fuck me. The last step of horse courtship is the most spectacular, consisting of a kind of circle dance performed by a male to capture the attention of the female, demonstrating his intentions. In order to perform this courtship dance, the male will significantly lift his hooves from the ground while turning on his own axis. He like this. You know, every time I see that dressage stuff that horses do, that people like ride them while they're doing it, and they're just like cloppity 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 cloppity, doing like a lot of this nonsense. I'm like, what is this dance, and why do horses know to do that, and why do people ride them and get them to do that? It's very weird, horse dressage. But now that I know that it's probably part of the courtship ritual, I can't imagine what the training is like for dressage. It's just some dude out on a ranch, and he's dressed up like a sexy girl horse. He's like, come on, dance for me, baby. Let's go. I'm having a lot of fun on this episode. I'm having a great time. Oh, and there's the pic. Okay, that's cool. Oh, wait, did I skip something? See, if the female is receptive, the male will continue his ritual by caressing her neck with his snout, gently rubbing his body against hers, proceeding to sniffing her tail, rump, hind legs, and genitals. If still receptive, a female will then lift her tail, showing that she is ready to mate, and the male will then mount her. Horse courtship is longer than mating process, which usually lasts only a few minutes. Okay, the pigs are outlasting the horses. Then they got the horse vocalizations. And then give birth pretty quickly, between 15 to 20 minutes. Then the baby pops out, and he's like walking on his legs, newborn baby colt style. Okay, so that's horses. Beautiful creatures with long schlongs. Okay, let's move on to yet another animal. I brought up lions. I don't know that I necessarily care that much, though. I think I just wanted to see if there was, like, rapey lions as well. I know ducks are rapey. I think dolphins are also kind of rapey. But lions... Let's see. The reproduction and life cycle of a lion... Where does it say lion, actually? I know that I looked this up, and this is about lions, but... Okay, cubs. All right, I guess this is from Britannica.com. Yeah, it's just their article on lions, I believe. Both sexes are polygamous and breed throughout the year, but females are usually restricted to 1 or 2 adult males of their pride. In captivity, lions often breed every year, but in the wild they usually breed no more than once in 2 years. Females are receptive to mating for 3 or 4 days within a widely variable reproductive cycle. During this time, a pair generally mates every 20 to 30 minutes, with up to 50 copulations per 24 hours. Hot diggity dog. Look at them go. Such extended copulation not only stimulates ovulation in the female, but also secures paternity for the male by excluding other males. The gestation period is about 108 days, and the litter size varies from 1 to 6 cubs, 2 to 4 being usual. Every 20 to 30 minutes, up to 50 copulations per 24 hours. And this is so the other male lions, I mean, they literally can't get in there. I'm banging this girl all day, son. All day and all night. Y'all ain't getting in here. And I know because I'm still on top of her. Bop, bop. And newborn cubs. I don't care about the newborns. Oh, and then they just move on to other stuff about lions. Okay, I thought this was going to be more like the other articles that I had pulled up, but I guess not. Should I look up? Yeah, let's do it. A lion courtship. Lion mating. This is from njwhite.com. New Jersey's White's Wildlife. Lion mating. She's the boss. This was written in 2018 by N.J. White. I thought it was New Jersey. It's not. It's this person's name. Let's see. Female lions will start mating at about 4 years old, while males begin closer to 5. Breeding is not seasonal with lions, but the females in a pride will often be synchronized. Much like her female feline cousins, a lioness coming into heat will advertise her readiness with scent marking, calling, rubbing on objects, and rolling around on the ground. She will engage in a lot of display, and she will also be defensive and scrappy. She rubs against the male, presenting her posterior with tail raised invitingly. But when he makes a bold approach, she turns upon him, spitting, scratching, and yowling. The next moment, she writhes on the ground at his feet or invites pursuit. Why does that remind me of my wife? That's weird. So weird. The big finish. Male courtship behavior usually entails a lot of head rubbing with the female, urine spraying, licking his genitals, and patiently following her. When the lioness is ready and presents, the male will try to grip her neck before mounting. Once he mounts, copulation is generally completed with a few thrusts. You know, the more I hear about male lions, the less respect I have for these dudes. At first, you know, the lion is the most ferocious, crazy individual on the planet, right? The kings of the jungle. And then you learn that male lions don't do any hunting. They leave that to all the female lions in the pride, which is kind of awesome. They're all the hunters, and the male lions are just like, y'all back with the poo, yeah? And now I know that even the one thing that they are supposed to be good at, providing the sperm for the females to carry life, they're just like, they're 1 minute men, as Missy Elliott. Was it Missy Elliott song? Or Mary J. Blige. So, okay. I mean, I guess that's all I need to know. He tries, he gets it in, and then 14 to 15 weeks later, a litter is born. She will find a well-hidden, bushy area to have the cubs and will keep them sequestered from the pride for over a month, moving them often to keep them safe. Okay, that's lions. I think the mammals on this list are fairly boring. The pigs, you know, they're kind of exciting because they be having that half an hour long orgasm, but the lions and the horses, they're just like, I'm done. Okay. Which doesn't surprise me at all. So now let's move into a different type of animal entirely. Let's get into the water. Let's look at how sharks mate. I have no idea how this happens at all. I have no clue. I've never thought about it until now. I think I had maybe seen like a shark baby once. I'm like, oh, how does that happen? But I don't necessarily know. This is from the Anderson Cabot Center for Ocean Life at the New England Aquarium. Anderson Cabot Center for Ocean Life.org. How do sharks mate? Written by Nick Whitney in August of 2018. They don't spawn like many other fish species, which release their gametes into the water column to meet up and create fertilized eggs and larvae. No, sharks have internal fertilization, just like mammals. An adult male and female shark have to physically come together so that the male can pass his genetic material into the female's body where her eggs will be fertilized. Should I stop doing this? I'm definitely not going to. For those of you familiar with mammalian mating habits, which I now am, you may be wondering how sharks manage to accomplish such a complicated physical maneuver in an aquatic environment without the benefits of gravity, hands. Did you know that sharks don't have hands? That's written in the article. And other tools and techniques often used by land animals. It's not easy, but the short answer is that it involves a lot of biting, thrashing, and rolling. Uh-oh. They using their teeth during sex? Oh my. Let's see here. Most shark species have never been observed mating in the wild. It's probably a pretty rare event in their lives. Females of many shark species only reproduce once every 2 to 3 years, though they likely mate several times per mating season. Usually mating takes place in deep or murky waters where humans are unlikely to see it. Occasionally a lucky diver will catch a glimpse of shark courtship or mating behavior in a clear water and can capture a still photo or a few seconds of video that some desperate scientist will analyze to death and publish in a scientific paper. Okay, and then they're talking about a specific study in the Dry Tortugas National Park in Florida. It's a small cluster of islands 70 miles west of Key West and is only accessible by boat or seaplane, has been an annual shark mating ground for well over a century. This writer says, I just spent the end of June and beginning of July in DRTO with Theo and Wes Pratt, who are now in their 26th consecutive year of studying this population of mating nurse sharks. Okay, so it's a long-running study. Because sharks are so distracted by courtship and mating activities, we scientists can approach them in the water extremely closely without the use of chum, bait, or cages. This area thus provides a rare glimpse of natural shark behavior in the wild, up close and personal. Okay. It's very interesting when you when you think about this happening from the shark's perspective. Like, okay, hey, it's time to go out to Key West. We about to get our bang on, dogs. You know what I'm saying? And then they're just into it, and they're going, and they're thrusting or whatever it is the sharks do. And then these freaking weirdo humans come in with their cameras and like, oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, keep doing that. Do it again. All right, we're talking about the study. La-di-da-di-da. Oh, okay. I'm talking about the tags to get on the sharks and stuff like that. I kind of wanted more details about the banging. You know what I'm saying? Most of the work in this study has come from direct observation and video analysis of animals in the shallows during daylight hours. In recent years, we've been able to collect longer, more detailed behavioral records even at night and in deep water. Okay, we're getting that deep water footage. I've been able to do this by using some fancy data logging tags called accelerometers to document the behavior of these animals every second for days at a time. Remember the thrashing and rolling that I mentioned above when sharks mate? It turns out that that kind of behavior shows up very clearly in accelerometer tag data, which makes these tags a great tool for studying shark mating. Understanding when, where, and how sharks mate helps us understand what places and times are most important for species survival and can also help explain their long-term migrations and habitat use. So let's see here. It looks like the accelerometer says that between 4:17 p.m. and 4:21 p.m., that accelerometer was going off. Okay, it was like that's a shark sound, and so that's how long they made for, at least I guess, because the rest of this is just like regular swimming data, I suppose. Okay, well, Nick Whitney, I appreciate your time, but this did not exactly tell me how sharks mate. But that's okay. We'll move on. Let's go to a different water animal. Let's hit up the dolphins. Okay, this is from sciencemag.org. Everything you always wanted to know about dolphin sex, but were afraid to ask, by David Schultz, written in April of 2017. Whales and dolphins have surprisingly interesting sex lives, replete with various positions, elaborate vaginas, and a rare type of penis that's almost always mostly erect. Dara Orbach, a marine mammologist at Dalhousie University in Halifax, Canada, has been studying these elaborate cetacean hookups for 7 years, and she's made some shocking discoveries, some of which she'll be presenting today at Experimental Biology 2017 meeting. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Well, I study this. Put them together. Oh, so this is like an interview. Okay, that's interesting. I might have to read this whole thing to get the clearer picture. Okay. Let's start with so this interview has been edited for clarity and length. They asked, let's start with the most obvious question: why study this? The answer: copulation is the most direct possible interaction between males and females, but we know so little about it largely due to the physical challenges of studying it, especially with underwater creatures. So it's only by looking internally at the animals while they're copulating that we can understand more about these mechanisms. We do this by looking at tissue samples from animals that have died of natural causes. We use whole penises and whole vaginas. Question: and then you go into the lab and put them together like puzzle pieces, basically? And then she says, yeah, But what makes our study more unique is that Diane Kelly, one of my co-authors, found a way to inflate these penises to their full erect size, which hasn't been done before. If you think about a specimen that is post-mortem, it's going to start to shrivel up. We found a way to inflate them so that they would be the most close mimic of what a real intromission would look like. Okay, that's gross. They're taking dead dolphin penis. How does one inflate a dead dolphin's penis? She said, we used pressurized saline, so essentially we had a nitrogen tank and we filtered the air under pressure into a smaller keg, like a beer keg, which is full of saline, and then pumped that into the penis. And then, question, what are female genitals like to work with? They're amazing, just because of this diversity, which has never been documented before. You open them up, and you're not really ever sure what you're going to see inside. Is it going to be relatively simple, or will there be these spirals, or will there be deep folds or shallow ones? Opening up each reproductive tract is unique, and you never know what you're going to see with a new species. In the wild, how do dolphins copulate? They say it's very variable. Some species, like dusky dolphins, copulate belly to belly, just missionary style, you know. Bottlenose dolphins seem to make a T formation where the male crosses the female at exactly her midline. That's interesting. Okay. Harbor porpoises are really unique in that they wait for the female to come to the surface of the water to take a breath, and then they leap out of the water and try to hook her with their penises. That's awesome. That's a cool move. Could it be that some of the positions are just for fun? That's a question they ask. This is what the whole purpose of the research is to understand. They have sex all year round, even when they can only conceive for certain periods of the year. By looking at how the genitals align, we can now say certain body positions are more likely to lead to successful fertilization than others, which might be for purposes other than reproducing. Is it play? Is it working out hierarchies? Is it establishing dominance? Is it learning? There could be many functions of sex. And question, what is the best and worst thing about this line of research? They say, I think the best thing is how exciting it is. I've never told anyone what I've done, and they've been bored with listening to me talk about it. Also, it was so faux pas to study sex and sexual behavior and genitalia for a long time that it really is an understudied field, and there's this huge opening in terms of new research directions. It seems like the sky is the limit. The worst part? I don't know if there is a worst part. I really, really love my job. I blow up these dolphin penises, I stick them into these dead dolphin vaginas, and then I just make them bang in all kinds of different ways, and it's the most fun thing that I do. Okay, they didn't say all that. That was me. But okay, that's dolphins. I thought I was going to learn a little bit more about that, but as this scientist said, Dara Orbach, it's kind of unstudied, untalked about. This was only in 2017. That's pretty nuts. And she's only been studying them for 7 years. So it's new stuff. New stuff about dolphins. Now, I did read a story once about from the 70s where somebody trapped a dolphin in an apartment. Like they took it out of the water, brought it into an apartment, filled the apartment with water, and kept the dolphin in there and did LSD experiments on it. I'm not going to look this up because I don't have enough memory to actually know. But during that time, the scientists working on these LSD things would give the dolphins some LSD. They take some LSD themselves. They get trippy. They get touchy-feely, and then they would bang the dolphin. Okay. So yeah, there's that. But that is one more thing that I think I know about dolphins is that they are also pretty rapey. Let me see. Dolphin sexual assault. I don't know which one of these links to pick. I can do either the lonely dolphin named Zafar, whose sexual behaviors towards humans cause a French town to ban swimming, or I can do can animals commit rape or murder from The Atlantic. Okay, let's go to ranker.com. It says, do dolphins really sexually assault other dolphins? It's from ranker.com. I have no idea if this is a viable website or not. Written by Lee MJ in July of 2020. This is a very recent article. Dolphins are often seen as gentle creatures of the oceans, but these beloved playful creatures also have a dark side. specifically a dark sexual side. While it's known that dolphins are one type of animal that has sex for pleasure like humans and even masturbate like humans, a dark trait they share with people is the fact that they commit sex crimes. Can dolphins sexually assault each other? More importantly, can dolphins sexually assault people? Where there's good news and bad news. The answer is complicated, and it's somewhere between yes and no. First of all, we have to ask the question, are animals really capable of committing sexual assault? Dolphins are considered remarkably intelligent animals, but it's unlikely they have the same concept of consent that humans do. I mean, sure. I think, some dolphins probably, don't want to have sex sometimes so that they can copulate all year. Another article. So there's probably some times during the year that they're like, I'm good. And then the dolphin's like, too bad. When it comes to dolphins raping humans, it's true footage exists of dolphins being sexually aggressive towards scuba divers and swimmers. Actual rape stories, however, are difficult to corroborate, and the credibility of the humans who tell them is suspect at best. After reading this, you'll know the facts as they stand on dolphin sexual assault. And you'll have to make up your own mind on whether or not dolphins are rapists. So, this is that other article. A French town banned swimming due to a lovelorn male bottlenose dolphin. In August of 2018, people looking to spend the end of their summer swimming in a town northwest France had to make a change of plans, as local officials banned swimming and diving in the Bay of Brest due to an overzealous male dolphin named Zafar. In the past, Zafar was known as a playful dolphin to visitors. He allowed people to grab onto his dorsal fin and took them on rides. His need for a particular type of human interaction, however, left swimmers feeling unsafe as he tried to engage in intimate activities. A marine mammal expert told newspaper Ouest France that he is in heat, explaining why the dolphin suddenly started pursuing people. Zafar reportedly blocked a female swimmer as she tried to return to shore, rubbed against people in boats, and used his nose to lift another woman out of the water. The mayor of the town, Roger Lars, says he issued the ban to preserve the safety of the people. Visitors aren't allowed to be within 50 yards of the dolphin. But that's it. So he didn't actually rape anyone. He was just like rock hard and messing with human women, I guess, and like lifting them out of the water and trying to touch them and stuff. Okay, that's interesting. Groups of male dolphins aggressively herd individual females. Oh, dear. Aggressive herding is a scientific name for what essentially appears to the unscientific eye to be dolphin gang rape. When mating with females, male dolphins form alliances of 2 or 3. They then choose a female and relentlessly mate with her for up to weeks at a time. If she tries to escape, she is chased. The males will frequently beat her with their flippers to maintain dominance. While this seems to us like dolphin-on-dolphin rape, it is often spoken of in the scientific literature as a normal mating ritual. It is, however, an unquestionably violent mating habit. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder, because it said it is often spoken in scientific literature as a normal mating ritual. But like, just because it happens regularly doesn't mean that it's a normal mating ritual. Like, gangbangs happen with humans. Happens all the time. I wouldn't consider it a normal mating ritual between us, though. You know what I'm saying? So if someone was observing us and they only happened to follow girls who loved gangbangs, and they were like, wow, this is a normal human mating ritual. A girl will go in and a group of NBA players will surround her and and bang her till she's tired and covered. So that's interesting. I wonder if that's like a scientific kind of bias on the scientist's part, where they're seeing animal sex, so they're like, oh, cool, it's happening. This must be it. This is what it's like. And then they take that away as like, well, this is normal. But they don't see all of the dolphin sex that's happening. They weren't seeing that T move with this group of dolphins. They're seeing the gang rape and suggesting that it's normal. So that's just my weird criticism of animal scientists. Like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Male dolphins aggressively mount other males to assert dominance. Okay? According to researchers, dolphins live in an open society, meaning they regularly engage in homosexual and bisexual relationships with each other, serving various functions from sexual pleasure to the formations of alliances and social hierarchies. Like the male-on-female sexual relationships, the male-on-male relationships can get extremely violent and do seem to reflect some level of sexual assault. Occasionally, males will mount other males as a short-term show of strength in order to dominate males from other groups. In these cases, the sexual engagement couldn't be seen, by human standards, as a consensual homosexual relationship. But again, this is seeing dolphin sex in terms of understanding of the human understanding of sex. And also, like, so with males, male humans, you know, we got a couple of options for humping on each other, I suppose, don't we? But a dolphin, I don't necessarily know that they have buttholes. They do have penises, but do they? I don't know enough about this. Let's move on to a different animal. All right, let's be done with dolphins before I philosophize my way into getting canceled or something like that. We're gonna end with spiders. Okay, going into the bug world. I have no idea how spiders have sex. No clue. I assume it involves a couple of these legs. The male spider's primary objective in life is to impregnate one or more female spiders. God, get out of here. One or more female spiders before other males can. As it turns out, this is no easy task in most species. Excuse me. The first obstacle is actually finding a female spider. Most spider species are completely solitary animals, meaning they live and feed on their own, and they are generally spread out over a wide area, making an available female relatively scarce. The male spider has the daunting task of tracking down a sexually mature, receptive female in the area before other males can get there. This is on howstuffworks.com. This is animals.howstuffworks, and it's written by Tom Harris. I don't know when. In most species, the female makes it easier on the males by advertising herself with pheromones, communicative chemicals. Many female ground spiders will secrete a pheromone on their dragline, which is the silk thread they leave trailing behind them. When males of the same species come across the dragline, they smell the pheromone with the chemical sensors on their front legs and follow the dragline to the female. Web-spinning females may release pheromones directly into the air or coat their webs with pheromones to make a natural chemical antenna. Males may also stake out developing sexually immature female spiders so they can be the first to mate after the spider's final molt. These are what I would like to call, what's that movie? These are what I like to call the dazed and confused spiders. They're like, I keep getting older, but these spiders stay the same age. They're waiting outside of spider high schools and and hoping that these females are turning spider 18. It's pretty gross. Once the male locates a female, it has to contend with any other males in the area. In species where the female spins a pheromone-coated web, the male's first order of business is to destroy the web to cut off the signal attracting any other males. If other males are present, the spiders in most species will fight it out for the right to copulate with the female. After taking care of any other male contenders, the spider's next task is to deal with the female spider itself. Male spiders are generally much smaller than females in their species, making them easy prey for the females. The male has to signal to the female that it is a spider of the same species, not food or a potential predator, and that it intends to copulate. This is courtship. Hey girl, what's up? It's me. I'm a spider, just like you. I'm trying to bang. I'm not going to eat you. I don't want you to eat me. Let's just do it. Courtship varies considerably among different species. Many web-building spiders will use vibration as a means of courtship communication. That's what I'm talking about. The male may strum a unique signal on a thread connected to the female's web to identify itself and get across its intentions. This is the guitar guy at the party. He's like, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Girls, come suck on my ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Many spiders with better eyesight, such as various wolf spiders and jumping spiders, will dance to court the female. Come on, girl. Come on, ride these legs. You know what I'm talking about. Let's go. Once the female recognizes the male's courtship behavior, she will position herself for sex, signaling to the male that she is receptive, or she will make it clear that she is not receptive by shaking her web, for example, or just crawling away. If the male is desperate to mate, which he is, because all the females in the area will soon lay their eggs, he may proceed anyway, with full understanding that the female might kill him. Interesting. Both the male and female reproductive organs are at the rear of the abdomen, but spiders don't mate by coupling these organs. Instead, the male deposits some sperm onto a small web and picks it up on the end of his pedipalps. Okay. When the female is in position, the male deposits the sperm in the female's genital opening. The female stores the sperm in receptacles near her ovaries, where when she is ready to lay her eggs months down the road in some species, she uses the sperm to fertilize them. Some spiders may lay hundreds, even thousands of eggs in one shot. Pretty good. Pretty good. So they don't actually bang, but the spider, the male spider, he'll be like, blow, and blast into an egg or blast into some webs, and then he takes that web and he just sticks that up onto the lady, and then she takes and like, all right, cool, I got this for later, and then she goes off and doesn't have the babies for quite some time. This has been extremely interesting. I hope it's been interesting for you and not just purely gross. I think I am going to be done because, God forbid, I keep talking about this and I start having animal sex nightmares and dreams. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Andre Knows Everything. Thank you so much for watching. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and click subscribe. Leave a comment, hit the like button, do all the YouTube things you're supposed to do. For those of you on podcast services, please leave me a review. That would be wonderful. I want to know what you think of this show and if there's anything that you think I can do to make it better. Could I stop, making sexual gestures? Maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? But leave me a review. Let me know what you want from me. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to the show. I'm on Apple Podcasts. I'm on Spotify, Stitcher. Subscribe on YouTube. Click the notification bell to make sure you know when all my episodes are dropping. They usually come out on Sundays at around noon. And follow me on social media. I am at Andre Morton Jr. on Instagram and Twitter. And I think I have a Facebook page now that you can like, which is also Andre Morton Jr. Go ahead and head there. I hate Facebook, so I won't be bothered if you guys don't like that. That's gonna be it for this week. Thanks for tuning in to this very, very sexy episode of Andre Knows Everything. I'll see you next time. I know more today than I did yesterday. Bye.